have a paver.
So it's 6
Water.
I didn't know what say it was today.
They're doing
Okay.
a
They actually
hard
had one.
shower?
Well,
Park the other day.
when's he have to start?
Got, I believe, 2 weeks, you gotta report on the 29th.
We are live.
We are live.
Hey, Ann, I sent you the
Okay,
message.
I'd like to call the meeting for Parks and Rec. Got Megan
Here.
Healy, Jimmy Ballard,
Here.
and myself here. So tonight I have two gentlemen. I know Vincent.
I'm Jim.
So Vincent and I have known each other for a few years, and we kind of talk about the city of Struthers. He always asks me how council's going, and so this year when I met up with him, he said, how's council? And I said, oh, I'm now on Parks and Rec, and he said, oh, I got the perfect thing for you. So just so he can show you what they have, what their ideas are, and just for future for us, because I know we're doing a lot with our parks and trying to kind of move along with things, and just maybe give us some ideas. So I'm gonna pass the buck to you.
Okay. I want you to take a moment right now. I want you to think about a day when you got news that you would say changed your life. In your head, answer this question too. What was the news? Who did it affect most? And what was kind of going on in your head that day when it happened? Give me a quick hand when you got the day and the time in your head. Only two. Okay. All right, you got a couple. Dale and Brian Carmy, the founders of Forever Lawn, which is the company we represent, they moved their families across the country from Northeast Ohio, Beaver local graduates, all the way to Albuquerque, New Mexico, to pursue a new career, to support their young families and their wives in synthetic turf. This was in 2002. They spent 2 years cutting their teeth in the industry, and then that day happened for them. They got the call that the company that essentially they represented, which is a competitor company to us now actually, that they were going bankrupt. Imagine, like, the way you felt that day, the memory you had, that was the position they were in. This was 2004. Again, they had young families, and they were in a brand new place, not around where they grew up. And they had another huge decision to make. Do we go back to the corporate IT world, which we knew and we're good at, or do we press on and start something new? They had found a major problem in the turf industry, which is that at the time, in early 2000s, there was one product that was installed across the board, whether it was for pets, for the backyard playground, or it was for dogs, specifically for a park or for a canine facility. One product for all, but they realized that is not serving the needs of the customer. There needs to be specific products engineered for their intended application. So you can imagine what they decided to do. They said, we're taking the leap of faith. In 2004, they started Forever Lawn. And they fundamentally believed at their core, one of their values was innovation. We have to innovate. My day, my memory, the question I asked you happened last year. I just had my first son. His name was Enzo. We were 3 months in. Thank God he was healthy. And I lost my job. That was a big deal for me. Pretty earth-shattering. I didn't know what to do. Fortunately, Jim, my brother, gave me a call. He said, I got an opportunity for you. He said, we've been a little stuck, but we need to grow. I know you can come and innovate for us. Dale and Brian Carmy, they started Forever Lawn. 20 years later, they have over 100 dealers across their network. We are one of them. We're Forever Lawn Penn, Ohio. We represent Eastern Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, and West Virginia with Forever Lawn's premium products. So today, we're going to talk to you a little bit about what our products are. Well, excuse me, the turf industry in general, the benefits to turf, and then who we are and how we might align with you. As Lori mentioned, we connected, and one thing I heard in the brief story she was telling about her role in Parks and Rec was that City of Struthers wants to innovate. So we thought, hey, it sounds like we share in that core value that we have, and so that's why we're here tonight. We're going to be quick and swift and try and be maybe 15, 20 minutes and then leave it up for questions. We know you've had a long day and you've got an agenda. So bear with us as we share some brief details about our presentation. I already talked about family owned and operated. When Brian and Dale Carmi launched into Forever Lawn, they were American through and through. Another value you'll see on the next slide is freedom. And so they believed that the one product that they were seeing in 2004 across the industry was actually made overseas. So they said, hey, when we innovate, we're making it here. They produce all of our products in Dalton, Georgia. And like I already said, they believe in custom turf solutions. Here's just a couple values. I already hit on innovation, but the other core values are integrity, doing business right, and building strong connections with the people we partner with, and also quality. When we innovate, we build products with quality. The turf that you're going to touch and feel today is unlike most of what you might see on the marketplace. It certainly isn't what you're going to buy on Amazon or in Home Depot. What Forever Lawn produces is all about quality. It is the premium product on the marketplace. We'll talk a little bit about why that is and why there's benefits to that. We have 5 primary product lines. Over the 20 years of Forever Lawn's life, they have developed product lines for these categories. General landscape applications. Wherever you see grass, we can put synthetic turf. And even in places that you don't see grass. Canine grass. This is one of the most cutting-edge products we have, on the market, which is a proprietary product that is built for canines to handle waste, to handle all the rough and tough treatment that they put on turf while staying perfectly clean and healthy. Playground grass. For protective play surfacing, we've seen that synthetic grass, it boosts children's level engagement when they're playing on it. It boosts the amount of times they're going to go to that playground, as well as how long they stay there. Sports grass, you can imagine, for sports fields, that's typically the #1 thing people think about with synthetic turf. We have a solution for that. And lastly, golf greens, both for residential and commercial. As I mentioned, there's over 100 dealers in the network of Forever Lawn. We are obviously located up here, neighbors to you. We're based out of Youngstown, operate out of Canfield specifically, but we reach this greater tri-state region. And the reason why this is powerful is because this is not how typical the largest companies in the turf industry are. Forever Lawn wanted to make sure that they had local presence everywhere that they distributed their turf. And so one thing that sets us apart is that locality, is that when someone partners with Forever Lawn, they ultimately build a relationship when the turf's in the ground and throughout the duration of that product's life. We're trusted by these leaders. It's going to flip through. I just want you to pick one that stands out to you.
Browns.
See the Browns up there? What about you?
Browns.
Browns? We did see a Pirates logo down here, so forgive us for having that up there. Any other ones that stick out to you?
A lot of pet toys.
What's Peppa Pig?
Peppa Pig, and we'll talk about how our playgrounds can be themed, very highly customized, and so there's a foundation that's related to that show, and they partner with Forever Lawn to build customized themed playgrounds. Any other ones stick out to you?
You like Peppa Pig, maybe?
I mean, it
That's
was
fun.
in my house forever. I mean.
We'll talk a bit about that in a moment. We talk about values, one being innovation and a values fit that I think we have with the city of Struthers. We spend our strategic partnerships division spends a lot of time thinking through what are the type of people, companies that are doing things for their communities that we want to partner with. And these are some of the names. Some of them relate directly with our products, like, for example, any dog lovers? No Cesar Millan? Rags to Riches Story came in as an immigrant to LA, and within a year started walking dogs. Pretty soon he was found out by TV producers and had a show within a year of being in the US. And now, he is the dog whisperer, and he has our products on his property where he does all that dog training. We partnered with Jeffrey Earnhardt IV, right?
Jeffrey Earnhardt the
The first, Dale Earnhardt's great-great-grandson.
Correct.
He's on the Xfinity series, and we saw an opportunity there, again, in values and in relationship to talk about Forever Lawn on a national level through his excellent driving. So I'm going to pass off to Jim, where we're going to briefly talk about different applications for our turf. And then we're gonna focus in on the products, we're gonna get to touch and feel them, and then ultimately wrap up with just a few questions if you have any. Again, we wanna respect your time. So Jim, I'll change the slides for you, but you can take it away.
Yeah, thank you guys. So the first area that we do is landscape leisure applications. As Vince mentioned, our landscape grass can really be installed anywhere grass does or doesn't grow. Very commonly seen in lawn spaces, rooftops, terraces, balconies, things of that nature. The one that stands out to most in these pictures is the upper left corner. That's actually a rooftop installment we did at Nemacolin and Woodlands Resort. Very unique. As you can see, the design there was very elaborate with the tan and 2 different tones of green. Everything you see on that particular roof is turf, and we were able to custom create that design in-house using a special CNC turf machine that we have.
How long ago did you guys do that?
We did that last summer. Yep. And there's that's the smallest of 4 rooftops we did. There's about 20,000 square feet that we did up there. Really cool. So, go ahead. Parks and Rec, probably our biggest area of focus, I would say, in terms of our product lines. I think this is where we have the most solutions. Everything from splash pads to playgrounds, sports fields, bocce courts, pickleball courts. We have a premium surface designed for just about every application within the park system. Sports is huge. As you saw there, we have some high-level partnerships with the Browns as well as the Indians. We're currently, actually tomorrow, will be our final walkthrough for Eastwood Field, the Scrappers Field. We have been working on it all winter, but we officially transformed that field completely from natural to synthetic grass. So YSU, Eastwood, or Mahoning Valley Scrappers, and many of the local high school teams will benefit from that. With the Cleveland Browns, we've had the opportunity to partner with them for the last few years. We were announced as their official turf provider in 2024. And since then, we've built 2 practice facilities, 1 outdoor, 1 indoor, and we partnered with them on a community project where we built a field for the city of Berea. Just some general benefits. The products are incredibly versatile and realistic. In general, turf is very low maintenance. We don't say no maintenance because there is a little bit involved with keeping it up and making sure it's performing its best. However, part of what we do that's different is every installation we do, whether it's a small installment in your front yard or your community football field, we include biannual service, which means twice a year we come out, our local team comes out, we inspect the entire application, we groom it. If any corrections are needed, we take care of that at that time. So, as Vince mentioned, we are not the company that sells you a system and once we're done, we're gone. In fact, our relationship really begins when we finish that job. All of our premium products are guaranteed for 15 years. So essentially, our relationship begins and we're together for life. Durability, turf, primary reason we use it is in those areas that are tough to maintain and highly trafficked. So all of our turf systems are designed to withstand everything that we can throw at it. Safety and accessibility is a massive focus for us, especially in the playground space. All of our products are designed with ADA in mind, and we have the ability, unlike a lot of other surfacing providers, to truly provide a fully inclusive playground space. We have turf products that have features that you won't find anywhere else in the playground industry, let alone surfacing. For example, we have an anti-static technology that's built into our turf. Why is that important? Well, when we played on playgrounds, we got shocked by static and it was never a concern, but today kids have hearing aids and cochlear implants and different types of electrical aid devices that could absolutely be impacted by static. So when trying to provide an all-inclusive safe space, that's something that is important. We also have antimicrobial technologies that are built into our grass. So when the blood, sweat, and tears is exposed to the surface, it is constantly working to keep itself clean and protected and in some cases odor-free when it comes to our pet applications. Sustainability. All of our products and throughout the manufacturing process, we look for ways to remain green. A lot of the products that we offer incorporate recycled materials. One of our biggest sustainability partnerships is by way of the Yellowstone Project, or Project Yellowstone, where they recycle, I believe, somewhere upwards of like 10 million plastic bottles a year. We utilize the plastic material from that recycling project to make our backing. We also have new products now that are made from recycled turf, which are we're able to offer at a cost savings discount, but also for those that are interested in knowing they have a product that is sustainable and environmentally friendly, that's something that we can now offer. And obviously, return on investment. We can show you the side-by-side comparison, and we've done this over the course of 10 years, planting a natural lawn compared to installing a synthetic grass lawn. Obviously, the upfront cost of the synthetic grass is considerably more, but when you play out those costs over the course of 10 years, all the maintenance, all the watering, all the time, it shows that it is absolutely a return on your investment. Turf will provide more value in the long run and save you money. So a little bit more about what makes us different. Before I show you our backing, I'd like to show you what the common turf in the industry is, and I'd like you guys to pass this around. We don't like to drop names, that's not what we're here for, but there are some other big names in the turf industry you guys have probably heard about or worked with. This is what they offer, this is their product. And I'm so confident in that because I understand where turf comes from. There's two manufacturing places in the United States, both of which are located in Dalton, Georgia. If you're familiar with Dalton, Georgia, all of the carpet, textiles, and turf manufactured in the US comes out of one town in Dalton, Georgia. Anyways, there's a huge manufacturing plant that mass produces this product. This is the common turf in the industry. And all of the other companies purchase this product and they white label it and market it as their turf. We own the other plant. It's much smaller, but it manufactures our specially designed products. And as you'll see when you pass them around, they're completely different. From the backing up to the blades, we manufacture our product differently. This diagram explains it a little bit more. The common turf is built on a single layer of plastic urethane. That urethane essentially holds the blades in place. The grass blades are weaved through the backing, and that's exactly how the turf is made. You can see here, I can come in and I can actually start to pull these blades out. So go ahead and take a look at that. The concerns we have in general with this product is because we're typically installing turf over top of a stone base, and in most of these applications it's highly trafficked, the turf moves a little bit. So you can imagine when that turf backing moves over top of the stone base, it begins to break down and those fibers begin to fall out. So a couple years down the road, your grass is laying flat, it's lost all of its volume, and the only way to get that grass back up and looking good again is to pack it full with more infill. Infill is that rubber and sand that you oftentimes find in fields. When you visit our field, you will never find a speck of that on the field. It's in there, but we use a very, very finite amount of it that works into the very base of the product. That's one of our big competitive advantages is we don't use a lot of infill. The competitor product requires typically 5 to 7 pounds per square foot, where ours only requires about a pound, typically. Sorry, is it warm in here, or is it just me? I take this
Don't
off.
pass out before you're done.
Oh no, I'm a hot-blooded Italian, so don't get concerned. It's pretty normal for me, but I take this off. I have a t-shirt under, and I feel like that would probably expose how much I'm really sweating. So just bear with me here. But moving on to our product. Our product is considerably different. The first thing you'll notice is the super thick backing. This is our triple layer backing system. We designed this because that product failed. We needed something that lasted longer and ultimately preserved the grass. So our backing is comprised of 3 layers. The first layer encapsulates the blades. The second layer is a cushion layer that helps protect from anything puncturing up through or down through. In the third layer, this felt layer, I mentioned is part of that recycled program, but it actually works with our seaming process, which is kind of like a special Velcro system.
I'll show it, Jim. We've got an edge detail here.
So our system is different, and this is just one of the unique ways in which Forever Lawn does things differently. In the turf industry, most of the times, seams are handled using glue. The issue with glue is it's only as good as the conditions it's installed in, or how well it's mixed, or how well it's applied. There's a lot of variables that can impact glued seams. So one of the things we did was we developed a system called micromechanical seaming. It's essentially like a super strong Velcro that enacts with the felt backing on the turf, and essentially eliminates the need for all the glue and all the potential user error. So it creates a much stronger seam than traditional glue, and they just look a lot better long term. You want to go back one time?
Yep.
So this is just a quick look, an installation detail that kind of shows an edge profile of our standard system compared to the common turf. The first thing you'll notice is the amount of infill that's in the common turf. You can see it on the top of the grass, and that's pretty common on our competitors' fields and playgrounds. When you get on those and you're standing on top of them and you look down, you primarily are just looking at rubber. Whereas in our system, we use considerably less rubber, a lot more blades, and you don't deal with that. So some things to consider when you're selecting the correct product, and determining what product to use for your project. There's some product considerations like the type of blade, the type of backing, the type of infill is also something to consider, as well as the intended use. This is really where we come into play. When you guys have projects and have applications, we want you to come to us. We want you to let us know what you have in mind, and we want to be able to help pair the right product with the application you guys are working on. So a couple other things that make us different. Our warranty, I mentioned we have the longest warranty in the industry, 15 years closed loop, which essentially means it's end to end. No proration included in that. It is included, so anything that could potentially happen to the turf, anything involved with the workmanship is included in that warranty.
So when you said prior that your annual maintenance, basically, that's included in the initial purchase cost?
That's correct. That's included with the warranty for the life of the product.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Great question. And please, if anybody has any questions, please stop me. Our installers, this is something that we keep very close to the chest. We do not sub out installations. We do not hire traveling crews. We house all of our own installers in-house. We train them. It's important because you could have the best turf in the world, which we do, but if it's not installed well, it doesn't do very well. So we do all of our installs in-house, and we have some of the best installers in the industry. Our premium quality across the board, from the products to the installation and the service, quality is one of our 3 core values, and something that we hold at a very high standard.
So when you think about that question I asked in the very beginning, I would imagine that if it wasn't yesterday, a lot of you have seen that what may have been a challenging or negative situation has maybe turned out to be a positive one. In the case of Dale and Brian, when they found out that the entity they represented filed bankruptcy and they were lost out of a business, they ultimately had faith and trusted that, hey, if they trusted their gut and through prayer and conversation with their families, that they were going to go move forward and in turf, and 20 years later, they've grown it into an incredible business. That was true of me when I lost my job, and I think too, what birthed out of that was this desire and hunger for resilience and to be innovative. And so we're excited to just be here. We'd love to take some questions now and just see how we can come alongside you. Go ahead, Mike.
The maintenance part of this, who does that? Your company? We do? What kind of money are we talking on maintaining this product?
So the biannual maintenance that I mentioned is included in the cost of the project. It's included in our warranty, and it's 15 years, or as long as the turf is in the ground. So if it outlasts the 15 years, which is common.
How long, how many times a year?
Twice a year, we will
Twice a
come
year.
out, so spring and the fall usually, and we do that. It's the same guys that install the turf. We have cleaning crews, service crews that go out, and they'll do that twice a
So
year.
there's no extra cost to us, it's all built into the purchase price of the
That's
product.
correct, and on top of that, because we're local, 10 minutes down the road, if you have a big game or you guys have a community park event and you want to make sure that your surfaces are clean, and we also do, on call. So if you have a big game or a big event, you want to make sure your field is groomed and perfect for that event, we come out and do that as well. And usually we're able to respond within 24 hours.
Now, there would be a charge for that, correct?
No, not with our field customers. Field customers, they get us on call whenever they need us. We are essentially their on-call turf crew anytime. So if you have a question, concern, or you just want us to come out and do that.
So to be part of that, is there a upfront fee that is more? That just comes with buying the premium turf?
The field, yeah. So when you do a field with us, you get biannual and you get
When
on
you say
call.
a field, you're
A
pertaining
sports
to,
field.
okay.
Yeah. Playgrounds, you always get the biannual service. We come out twice a year to check everything, make sure everything's
What's the
perfect.
maintenance in between that though?
Well, so that's just the regular maintenance we would suggest you guys do, and
Which
it's
is?
really just a matter of blowing off natural debris that may find itself on the turf. And if a spill were to occur, all of the turf is designed to drain very quickly. All the turf has drainage holes in the backing, so it's just a matter of spraying it down.
So you don't have to scrub this stuff? or
Absolutely not.
anything
Ours
like
is the same way at home. We either blow it off, or one of my workers, they're really good after winter, I'll have them shop vac it, and it looks perfect. So it is
What about for
fairly easy.
the dog parks?
Yeah,
Is that a
so
little bit more routine or?
I'm glad you brought that up. So I'd like to pass around this product. This is our canine grass.
So it's a little shorter, so
It
it
is a-
doesn't get as tangled.
You're right. That is one of the features of canine grass, but it is totally different than anything you've seen. When you look at the backing of this product, I want you to hold it up to the light. You can see
So it's more
directly
porous.
through it. It's got edge-to-edge backing. That backing, unlike all the other products we've seen today, which have selective drainage holes, this has immediate drainage, edge-to-edge, because of that knitted construction. So the issue here is, unless your dog knows where these holes are and aims pretty well, the waste ends up sitting on this backing and it bakes in the sun and starts to smell. That's why not every turf works well for dogs. With canine grass, no matter where the dog does its business, it drains through immediately and it dissipates into the stone base we install underneath. Canine grass features the built-in antimicrobial agent, which is really what is constantly working to keep itself clean, bacteria, and odor-free. The only maintenance that's involved with canine grass is picking up solid waste. So if this is a community dog park, we typically say, encourage your patrons to pick up after their dogs. Outside of that, the rain in our area really does the trick, and it will push anything else through the turf that's needed. There's no additional cleaning products or enzymes or anything like that you need to add to it with any other type of turf. Because all of our competitors, they will take this product, they will add a few more drainage holes. They say, look, we put double the drainage, this is for dogs. But you guys know, it's gonna sit there for a period of time, and that contact with the backing is ultimately what creates issues when it comes to pets. So
Are you able to fire wash this stuff?
you can, man, that stuff is amazing. It also works really well on splash pads just because of the high drainage. And it's very
There's no mold or anything that would.
completely antimicrobial.
So now,
It's guaranteed against all of that.
cost per square foot on these?
Yeah, they're all gonna vary slightly. but I would say in general, you're looking at about $5 to $7 a square foot for the premium products.
Installed or?
That would be just the material.
Okay.
Install is really tough to ballpark just because there's so much variables.
Are you,
as to
you
how
guys
much-
usually lay over an aggregate base, I
Typically,
assume? Yeah.
yes. And we do all of it, you know, as much or as little as you guys want. We have, like for Eastwood, we did the full soup to nuts, all the excavation, all the base prep, all the drainage, and obviously all the turf installation.
So generally, you probably start with a 57 or something like that and base your way up to an aggregate?
That's correct.
Okay.
There's a example of a typical installation.
Yeah, so the first 3 or 4 inches of our base, what you're seeing here essentially, let's say this room was your front yard. We would excavate down 3 to 4 inches of the existing grass and dirt out of the area. And then we'd bring in 4 inches of aggregate. As you mentioned, this is a
These-
coarser stone,
Okay.
and we work up to a fine grit stone
Yeah.
that we can grade and compact. Around the perimeter of the yard, or field, or playground, whatever it be, we install a nailer board. This nailer board acts like the tack strip that's under the carpet in your house. We either anchor it into the ground with rebar, or we anchor it into the edge with a fastener, but ultimately we staple the turf to that nailer board around the perimeter.
The nailer board is made out of,
This shows lumber, we don't use lumber, we
Okay.
use 100% composite nailer boards.
Those.
They will outlive all of
Yeah,
us,
absolutely.
and they could be bent in circles around trees and things if we need to make radiuses. But this is a demonstration of a standard installation. Sometimes the base depth varies. For example, on fields, we do an 8-inch base, and there's an extensive piping drainage system that gets installed on fields as well. With playgrounds, one of the variations you'll see is we still do 4 inches of stone, but playgrounds, critical fall protection is the name of the game, right? Your playground equipment determines how much fall protection you need to have in the surface. So we have what's called safety foam. It is a safety pad that we install underneath the turf that gives us the ability to reach upwards of 15 feet of critical fall, which is unheard of on a playground. So that's just one of the things you'll see sometimes in different installation details where we have foam included there. So this is our safety foam. It comes in these puzzle-looking pieces so they all interlock together. We have 1-inch foam all the way up to 4-inch foam. So depending on what your playground is calling for and the equipment you have out there, we can tailor the surface to meet exactly the demand. Great question.
What do they use on a typical football field? Anything, any of that stuff, or is it just?
For padding, you mean?
Yeah.
Great question. Indoor fields, so we have two types of field systems typically. We have a product-based system and an infill-based system. We specialize in the product-based system that includes more blades, less infill, and because of that, we don't need a pad. Our pad is essentially, this backing is the built-in pad. Most other companies are including they call it a shock pad underneath their turf on football fields because they have that very thin backing. So they're using more infill and that pad to get it's called G-max on a football field. It's the test that determines essentially impact actuation on a field. It's called the G-max test. So to achieve the appropriate G-max with that inferior product, they're packing it full of rubber and they're putting that pad underneath. We just said, let's make a better turf product. So we put more blades, we built the padding into the backing, and this system in itself does not require any additional padding. Can you put padding under a field? We can, and there's a good example. We have a partnership with the NFL Hall of Fame. We did their indoor dome. It's the largest dome in North America, over 120,000 square feet. The system we installed there does not need a pad. It passes G-max with flying colors just as is, but because of some of the activities and events they were planning for there, they asked us to include one. It was just a customer preference. So another great question.
Is there any data on that, on any of the impact injuries?
Absolutely.
Knee, ankle, foot, that shows that this is better than?
Absolutely, yes. We have a white paper that shows the infill-based system compared to our product-based system, performance and injuries as well. Yes, we do. We can provide that.
And just a note on that, these are some of the other ones that, these major associations are requiring and most, constituents are requiring for their local fields, their high school fields, and so we partner with Sports Labs and BioCore, who the NFL uses for all their testing on the fields. And yeah, we have the data for each product for these tests as well.
We've recently, last year, we did the Columbus Crew's new practice facility, which was a pretty cool one. FIFA is tough. NFL has their own set of testing. FIFA is a whole different set of testing. So it's been a tough organization to get into. They have not endorsed any or approved any other turf product for their fields. Forever Lawn Sportsgrass is the only FIFA-approved turf at this time, which is pretty cool as well.
You have extended warranties?
We may have an option. That's a great question. We've never had somebody purchase an extended warranty, but I know that our corporate entity has been known to extend that and offer that if they're
You
interested.
probably don't generally go past what you're deeming is the life of the product, correct?
15 years is what we warrant the system for. Truthfully, that warranty is from our corporate entity, Forever Lawn Incorporated. They're our manufacturer, so they're the ones that are warranting the performance of this product for 15 years. They may offer an extended warranty. I imagine there'd be a cost to that, but that's definitely something we can look into.
What do we have around the splash pad? What is going around that?
We don't know yet. So right now, we just have the pad, but we are looking at different options to put around. We're
Anything
gonna,
going on the surface of the pad itself, or are you
No.
just keeping it concrete?
no, that'll just stay concrete for the time being. A lot of these products, and this is what I was gonna ask you, we don't have the budgets that a lot of these other cities have. So we ask for quotes up front so that we can apply for different grants. And I know there's a lot of playground grants out there. We're looking for some for for Nebo, and we don't know what this is gonna look like with the splash pad, if we're gonna need extra something around there. And then we also have a dog park, which you said with those, cause that's pre-existing. You do all of the, like you would take the fence out, install it, you would just,
The fence may not have to come out.
Okay.
We would take a look at that. We obviously need to make access into the area,
It's
but
only chain link, so you would be able
Yeah.
to take a section down
we
and get
would probably
equipment
just
in.
have to take a section, but we actually like when the fence is up. That way we can install the turf right up tight to the fence,
okay.
so we're not leaving any gaps for dogs to dig or anything like that.
Okay, so we would probably need quotes on what this looks like for us,
Okay.
cause I know it's,
Kat, would
probably
you
more-
consider at all, if we could get a grant for it, putting that on the hard surface of the splash pad?
Protective.
Cause
Right.
That's a
if
good
people
idea.
fall on there, it's
Why
just
not?
basic
Yeah.
concrete,
It's concrete.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just a thought, either with that or something soft, if we
Yeah.
had, if we were able to get a grant.
I'm up, if we can get it paid for, I'm up for
Yeah.
anything, that's
I
our
just feel like,
biggest-
I mean, I've seen it, it looks good, but I would just be more concerned with somebody falling and getting
Yeah.
hurt. We're trying to attract kids. This would be a great product for that.
The other
Well, Jim,
thing,
could you put that on top of the concrete surface, or would you have to dig everything out?
No, you
no,
could
we
put
can put it over
Right on top.
concrete. We may, is the
Probably
concrete
holds
already
up
It's
there?
small,
better on
it's there.
concrete.
It's, we didn't even open it yet, so we're gonna be opening up in May, but, so we don't know, this is our first time
And it's
dealing
not-
with this, so we don't know what we're
So,
gonna need
but
there.
with that, you wouldn't have the aggregate base that you had to dig or anything, you're just simply applying that to a concrete base, so it would be far cheaper, I'm
Correct.
assuming, than
Considerably
the
cheaper.
excavation process, correct?
Tear it out and everything.
Yeah,
If you're interested
and
in
that's
seeing
only,
one,
I think 20 by 30, is that
It's
correct?
small, it might be
It's-
20, it might be 30 by 30, is it?
Does
I
anybody
don't
know?
know the exact.
Yeah, I mean, it's
small,
not a
it's not
large
big.
surface, it might be somewhere in the area of 600 to 900 square feet.
Yeah.
we just did this process for Tippy Canoe Country Club. They had a smaller than yours splash pad next to their pool.
Yep.
That it had like a thin, poured in place rubberized coating that just faded and cracked within a couple years. So we did exactly the same thing, resurfaced over the concrete there, it turned out great. And we have colors, so we can design
That's what
this,
I
we
was
could put.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
we
cool.
can make it colorful
We
and make
could
it
do, we
Struthers.
have.
Red and black.
We really haven't even talked about the potential that we have within our playground line, but we have the ability to create custom logos. We have an entire catalog of what
Oh,
we
don't
call
tell me that.
fun certs. Oh, wait until you see our fun certs. We could do a themed playground. You know,
There's your Peppa Pig.
Yeah.
it's just,
Is Is that what you use for
You guys
Disney
do
too?
Peppa
We
Pig
did,
Land?
we-
Disney was on there.
Disney, all the turf at Disney is Forever Lawn, Universal as well. We've done some really cool
Did you guys
stuff
do
with them.
Peppa Pig Land
We did,
in Legoland?
yeah.
Been there like 4 times.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
What are some other like places locally? that
The
you-
Walnut Grove in Canfield,
Okay.
all the
They're-
turf there is Forever Lawn.
They do a lot of fundraising.
Leonard
Yeah.
Kurtz, Leonard Kurtz, the Potential Development School.
I'm honestly
That's a
excited to
Struthers
see the
guy.
Memacolin one.
So it's Paul Garcher.
Oh, yeah.
We
Where
will,
did
I'll
you
follow
find
up,
it?
I'll send this presentation to Lori as well
What
as,
did you do at Potential Development?
We did their
the
playground.
reference list of some of the
Probably
past
6
projects.
years ago.
Jim, before you leave, you have a card?
Oh, yes, I give everybody
The
cards.
big one.
Can you,
We'll send you our full reference list. We have a great
Oh,
local
yeah.
reference list of dog parks, playgrounds, sports fields. You guys can go check all of that. If you would like to set up like a field trip, we can kind of accompany you to some of
Yeah,
those.
I know.
Do you have a local dog park that you
Yeah.
have? Okay, because we have a dog park, we have a citizen-led initiative, called
It'd
Shutters
be
on
so nice
Leash,
to have
and
this
they
in Montreal.
handle everything for our dog park. So I think this
I
would
know,
be
me
a
too.
great location for them.
I was thinking I don't know a swing set, I just fell off the swing.
That's one of the parks we're looking at,
No.
really.
Jim, you guys do residential.
We do. Do you have turf?
I know. I have some in the backyard.
Did you install
I
it?
installed. I did the same thing. I mean, I've prepped for other people in the past in,
This would be nice, like not at.
in certain areas. That's kind of how I knew the application process and the excavation
I can tell
process.
you got some knowledge.
At my house, again, it's been about 4 years. We use just cheap stuff. We don't have any problems yet, but I would like to get my front yard done. And I have
So
an
you want
in-ground
Ricky?
pool in the back. I was thinking of the parts that aren't stamped concrete
Wouldn't
going
that be
around
nice?
there. Yeah. If you guys come out and take a look and go for
Maybe you
it.
could just get like 4 of those and just put them outside. Maybe they'll only use that.
She's watching, she's like.
My dog goes down and
One
one
house.
Yeah.
He goes down, it's all yellow there.
Dripping already.
She complimented his shoes, she started saying,
Handicap
oh,
hymns
yes,
from
something.
From here to here.
So you did a good
You
job.
can get your whole parking lot done.
Landscaped.
But how do I, you guys just nice.
I'm gonna give you guys all my
No, right where
cards.
Okay.
Right where my
That's
dog
really
sits
nice.
down.
Email with
Off the
the
road.
addresses of these locations,
Yeah.
and I'll send my.
I-
kids
to
out
To be
there
honest,
next
I
week
like
to
the
start.
dog one.
Yeah.
I like it short. I mean,
I do too.
I think we'd
That would
like
be so
ideally to
sweet
set
at
up
our dog
another
park.
meeting.
Yeah,
with
well-
us.
We actually have,
People just
our
don't
newest
do that.
product we released is a landscape product for, that is a knitted
I'd love
backing.
to reconvene
It's fully
once we have the
recyclable.
numbers
It's called
together, and we
Verana,
could
but
sit down and
yeah, if you're
kind of
interested in a
talk
shorter
through
plow
what
height, we have that as
anybody-
well.
okay.
There's both infill and non-infill too, so if you have young ones that you're concerned about.
I do, but also in the backyard, I mean, you guys, nothing for you to put in a putting green if you were already doing it, or a rough chipping area.
You're asking for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would assume you have that capability.
Yeah, yeah.
You do real small projects?
We can do any size.
Okay.
Yeah, if you got a small 10 by 10 off to your back patio.
Listen, I'm right down the street from him, we could just piggyback together, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
I have a little spot for
We're
my
actually
dogs,
doing
I should
something right
really.
now.
Yeah.
This stuff looks good.
I know, I'm
This one,
looking, I know.
right when I ran.
So that
Because we always
we're
get
doing
mad where our
some
dogs
kind of
go out, we have like a
controlling-
small fenced in
kind of
area, and it
just
always
like
gets
that.
muddy,
It's
this
a-
would be
we're
like.
working
Oh,
with
yeah.
Have some of my
Lance,
You
we're
need a small
working with,
piece?
who else?
Do you? Yeah.
Large piece?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like a big piece, but I might have like a 5 by 5 or something like that.
Project.
Yeah, I got some in my shop.
Yeah, 'cause it's fun to see.
Like all those.
In the winter, it's
who is
so
it?
yellow there right
He,
now. The dog is slowing down.
I showed
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I got
They're doing something.
I'll
like
dig it out
I
this week,
tried
I'll
to
get it
find
to you.
that picture you sent me and I couldn't find
Yeah,
it.
we can
They're
do,
doing something like this in Columbiana.
Oh, are they?
So
where
that
would you
be nice
put that?
Like by the kayak launch, right in those hills.
When I was coming in.
that's, I mean, that's, it looks complex, but it's really just aggregate work. You know, just kind of getting in there and creating those.
Does that,
Oh, we're gonna show you.
Because we're doing the Niles Riverfront project and they're turning that old waste
They're,
area into
they've
their.
got
Well,
the
there was
same, same
a.
company.
Oh, MS Consultants?
Riverfront
In
project.
Integra.
Oh, excuse me, yeah, yeah.
So we had,
It's
there
really
was turf spec'd on that job,
On the
originally,
Struthers?
the Struthers job.
Yeah.
And I remember, we're working with Integra on the Niles one, and they just recently told us that the Struthers turf kind of, you guys went away with turf in that
Because
area?
like I said, we need more money.
I get it, yeah,
So if
but
we can apply for it, this is something, right, there's, and I can show you, but there's a hillside that it would just be perfect
Well,
for.
Kat, why don't you pick out a couple places, get estimates, and that way we can put in for a grant for it, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
for that foam, does it have a, like a 15-year, like the turf?
Yes, the foam is also guaranteed 15 years.
I'll tell both you guys, I absolutely hate being sold on. I hate intricate presentations, you both did great. Very good.
We're really, I mean, obviously, it's part of our job, but we
Yes.
don't look at ourselves and think of ourselves as salespeople. We're relationship guys, we're community guys, we're born and raised Youngstown. I live in Canfield, he lives in Austintown. You know, our parents still live here. I played at Scene my whole life, I played with this guy, I mean, this is our town, so, you know.
No, both you guys, very well presentation, very
We appreciate
knowledgeable
the
on your
opportunity.
product, very well.
And we,
You brought stuff we could see. I
Yeah.
mean,
love to,
now,
we
if you
love to
can
help.
figure out how to get rid of the black
Thanks, Lori.
pebbles that I have to vacuum up on my kids.
Thank you.
We don't use any,
That's a good.
we don't use any rubber
I'm
on
not kidding.
playgrounds.
Yeah, the
During
one time
football
school.
season, 5 minutes every single day, I'm vacuuming
Yeah.
the turf from my house. I could probably
Everybody
make
got a
more
card?
for a whole
Yep.
field.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone, really appreciate your attention.
Thanks.
No, thank you guys,
Thank you.
great
If you have any
presentation.
follow-up questions, please email us and, we'll come out next week and get some numbers pulled together.
Jim, I'll get in touch with you too, what is your, what's your schedule, how far out are you if I called you to come and take a look?
For you, man, we can make it happen within 2 weeks, but normally about 3 to 4 week lead time.
Fair enough,
Well,
just
we
for
can
you.
leave those,
Fair enough.
with you all, just to keep until the next time we see it, if you'd like.
Well, yeah, I could show the dog park
Yeah, yeah.
people.
Yeah, so this is the canine. I want them to keep Prism. Prism is the product we had suggested for, the Riverfront project. It's one of our most popular. It's also what we would suggest typically for, well, it's another option for playgrounds as well. Yeah.
Anybody
All
else
right.
have any questions?
I do, I've got one more question. Installation range, you know, like the simplest job to a complicated job, what would you say per square foot the range would be?
I would say, on the low end, it doubles the price of the product,
Okay,
right? So and when I say low end,
So you're 10 to 14 bucks a square foot.
if you had a perfect
Roughly.
square with everything ideal,
the bigger the job, the smaller the price per square foot. Economies of scale affects our pricing. So a football field, for example, is gonna be the lowest price per square foot you'll see. From a putting green, it's gonna be a higher price per square foot, just because the amount of work involved with the, small area.
Right.
I would say on average, our average price per square foot across the board is about $20 a square foot. That would be product, installation, 15-year warranty.
Everything.
That's not a field. Fields are
Right.
typically $6 to $8 a square foot all in. That's
Okay.
Right,
including
there's
all
just
the
so
base
much, you're
work,
able to,
just because
yeah,
of the volume.
okay.
But like average residential project or a smaller, when I say smaller, about 1,000 to 2,000 square feet is kind of right in our average.
okay.
That would be right in line with about a $20 per square foot job.
Okay, so 1,000 square feet is probably around 20 grand on most instances.
Correct.
Now, that's probably provided that you don't have to do a bunch of drain work.
That would be a pretty standard turnkey, full-fledged project.
Okay,
So if we're getting into much outside of that kind of typical scope, there could be a little bit more.
if you want a design and logo or something like that, obviously, it's gonna
Those things
scale up
add to
from
the
there.
cost. But we are still talking about the premium product line. We do also carry, and I didn't mention this, but it's worth stating, that we have access to all the other products in the industry. So the stuff that I showed you our competitors push, and that's what's common in the market, we have all those solutions too. They're not the best, it's not what we're known for, but if we do need to look at solutions that are a little bit more budget friendly, or need to figure out ways to get creative and value engineer, we can do that, because we've got all the options.
Okay. Very
Great
good,
questions, guys.
thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Very
Yeah,
good.
thank you very much.
Thanks
everyone.
again, appreciate it.
We appreciate it, thanks for
Yeah,
coming.
thanks for the opportunity, Lori.
Good job, Lori.
Thanks for having us. Okay, we adjourn this meeting,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
okay, meeting adjourned.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.
I'd like to call this finance and legislation meeting to order. Ms. Golan. Mrs. Golan,
Oh, I'm sorry, I was.
you're here, right?
I'm here
In
as
my
well.
own
Mr.
head.
Beagle. Okay, we got a lot of legislation here that I have to read.
Oh,
But you know what, I wanna go over this one with Officer Merzla first.
So I apologize, I wasn't here to go over this, last time. This is something I briefly spoke about a long time ago. We were very excited when we got the opportunity to get Officer Merzla back. we had different discussions with him, and we gave him our word we would try to see what we could do with, the vacation on here. And when I talked to the attorney, they said, yeah, just get an MOU from the union to have them sign that they are okay with it, because it's not in the union contract. So we got that signed, we got everything done. I didn't think anything of it, and then we sent it to Chrissy to get processed, and she said, I need something from council too. So this is just, I know our attorney,
So
the
when he
union signed off
left
on it.
us, he was compensated for his vacation, correct?
I don't believe he was able to take the vacation with him. I know he was able to transfer.
But he was paid for it though, wasn't he? When he left? Don't they get like a severance package when they leave?
Hours and all that? I don't think you could transfer them.
I don't think he could, I don't know.
They
I know
can-
the
they
sick
can-
time.
They
the
can
sick
transfer
was
sick time
transferred.
because that's, understanding through the county.
Yeah.
Through different police departments. I mean, if he's due it, I'm
Here,
fine.
but I don't think.
But you know, I'm just
I
saying,
thought he gave his up to leave.
I can
I
ask.
thought he really did.
I can
I'm
ask
being
Chrissy.
honest,
What do
and
you-
I can't say 100%.
But this isn't what he accrued at Struthers. This is what he accrued when he was at Austin Town. So he just wanted to see if he could carry it over. So it's not anything that was accrued here.
see,
So
I
then, so
don't know.
then, instead of Austin Town paying it, we would be paying it.
Well, no, but you don't really pay. That's why I don't think we paid it out, because I know Austin Town, you can't.
but did he
Yeah.
receive it?
I don't believe so. Let me-
See, the
I
thing
thought he
is,
gave quite a bit up leaving.
So if you
I
accrued
do.
it in
So I
Austin Town-
thought that he did not get that.
Why would we pay for it?
Why would we pay for it?
I mean, the thing is that.
We were trying. To be honest, we were just trying to.
But is,
get him back.
what I'm, yeah, but what I'm
I
saying is
understand,
that,
but-
so every time we get somebody that wants to come back that worked there before, they can
We're gonna have to do
negotiate their
that.
contract?
No, that has to be okay. The union has to do that. We can't do.
But
we
that could
can't-
happen to every person.
Right. We just can't give
I mean,
one and not give to
actually,
the other and keep on doing it.
if we
Depends
brought,
how good somebody is.
well, it doesn't matter,
You know
but
what
you
I
know,
mean?
it's not fair to a brand new hire.
No.
If he's been gone, when's the last time he worked there, 11?
15?
No, he left in,
15, right?
The date should be in there. I believe.
Yeah, he left it was a long time ago. But then again, we're not having to go through a lot of training period with him either that we would have to with new hires. Or we would have to take a lot of time where they would
And,
get with
and
another officer.
you give him top salary as well, right? Less than 1 year, they get no vacation. 1 year to 4 years, they get 80 hours. This is a new hire. Sick time carries over up to 1,375 hours. That's what we need to put on that ordinance, up to. In 2025 rates, after 4 years full-time service, he would get $56,000. And that's what we're giving him right now, as basically he's a new hire. I don't, if
I
that's
just-
fine, I mean, that's
to
fine.
be honest, as hard as we are to get people
I
to
know
work
that.
here, you know what I
But then
mean?
I
that's
think
just
the
it.
union's a sticky situation too.
That means everybody can negotiate the contract, whether there's a union or not.
Right. I get it, I get the point where, you know, he was experienced, we got it, we gave him what he's worth. But in the same token, we're doing it, we're doing
We're also
one-
giving him, 13 days vacation on top of that.
You know, and
To
we've
come
had
back
discussions in the past about good qualified people that we have, and talking about giving them raises, that it was, seems to me that it
Couldn't happen because of the union.
No, that it was just like, well, you know, that's what they come to expect
Signed up
by
for.
working, you know, for public service.
Yeah.
You know, that, you know, it doesn't necessarily reflect that they should get top wages. And I think we had that discussion about Mark Brenner at one time.
We had a discussion, I believe, about the person that you hired, and I think Sherry Noble wanted to come back, and we were gonna give her top
Right.
rate to where she was at. So how is that kind of fair to this whole situation too?
We weren't gonna give her top rate?
No,
And she left, and she was coming back, and she was experienced at the job.
But it's also not a union position.
I got it.
I think when it comes to union stuff, I feel like it's a little bit different. If there was anybody that,
so that means
It's just-
anybody in the union can negotiate the contract with us, basically.
Well, it was
No.
more negotiation to come back,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And
Like
I'm
I said,
not
I'm
disagreeing,
all
I'm
game
just saying,
about giving them what
But-
he- what
I get where you're
due.
coming from 100%.
I
do,
just don't wanna create a precedence
Yeah.
on bringing
Yeah.
people
And
Having
that's
back.
the
everybody quit
situation.
just to come
On
back
other
to get
yeah.
To
more
get top
perks.
rate.
Yeah.
And this
Right.
is, I've almost 7 years now, we've never run into the situation where we were trying to do everything we could to bring back such a quality officer. So that's where, and I wasn't aware that I had to get counsel, I thought it, when I talked to the
So why
attorney,
didn't
that
we
it just
do it
goes.
before he left, when he was here?
We
Why
did,
didn't-
I checked, Chrissy said, no, we did not give it to him.
Well, he left prior to this administration.
I guess the thing that puzzles me is,
Why did he
if
take it up
this is
first?
a time accrued from when he was at Austin Town,
No, they said from Struthers, time accrued from Struthers.
Yeah, that's what the
Time
ordinance,
accrued.
and that's how the ordinance was drafted, cause I think that's what my understanding, so the ordinance might say that it will need to
But
be
I
changed.
think he gave that up when he left here.
Who do we
Time
find that
Carry
all
over
about?
all theirs? No?
No, it doesn't carry, the sick time carries over
Yes.
from wherever you go, if it's over.
Sick time, you're saying
Is
not
there any,
vacation time.
is there any, material in place when he left that has this on file?
Yeah,
I'm sure we can get it from Chrissy.
Well, I think that's what needs to be done
yeah, maybe
before
to
we
see
make a
what he
decision.
accrued here, what he gave up when he left here, is that,
Right.
cause that's the
think-
way
Isn't that
that's
what that
reading.
is?
Yeah, that's what
That's
it
the
reads.
way that's reading, it was reading about
Isn't that what that
Struthers.
is?
When I did the ordinance thinking, well, I was under the impression that was time that he had when he was here the first time.
And he left,
And he left.
and he was
then
getting,
incoming, and now coming back. I didn't know. the
But we
ordinance
don't, but
doesn't-
we don't know if he was compensated
we
for
don't-
that time occurred.
I don't.
I think you need to find that out first, you'll be
If he
paying
was
him twice.
compensated in 15 or whenever he left, that's what we need to find out.
Okay.
would
I
it be
think-
helpful to have him come in to
No,
maybe
you
ask
need
him some
Chrissy to come in,
questions?
she's the one that
Either way.
takes the figures.
Either way, this is in stone here, where
No,
if he got it or not.
Everybody had questions, that's why I wanted to bring
Right,
this up.
Yeah, I
Because
mean, if the guy is
I
deserving of
know-
the money, absolutely.
Right,
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
When I retire, I'm gonna get my severance packages, so if I decide to go back, they're not gonna give me that stuff back.
I get it, it's the union thing, but
I think.
Yeah,
And I
then-
think,
but that-
I
it
wasn't
has nothing
aware,
to do, it
and
has
I
nothing-
kind
should
of
have
use
nothing
it
to do with
as
it.
a
So
You're
negotiation,
why-
saying
make
Chrissy
it
might
work.
have paperwork on that
I'm
when
sure
you
she has paperwork.
I
on
think
when
So
that-
why
So-
even have
so
a
this
union?
was
Why even
given
be in a
to
union
him
if you can negotiate your contract?
with us.
Right.
Can I see that, Bob?
Well, that's, all the contracts have to be approved by council. Every single union contract has to be approved by council.
Yeah, but we're
As a
negotiating his
collective
contract,
group,
we're
this is
negotiating
this
this
is an
individual
individual.
contract.
Right.
You need to
Just
get
him.
Chrissy
Well,
to
no, that's
look.
why the MOU is there from the union.
Yeah, but not for,
They're
there's
saying-
nothing that says anything about, vacation time carrying over.
You
Nothing.
need- You need to get Chrissy
I mean,
to
I
look up
understand the sick
paperwork
time,
when
that's
he
fine, he's
departed
due that.
from here.
But if he got compensated for his accrued vacation time when he left, I don't think we should give it back to him.
No.
I honestly, I don't think he did. And again, find out from Chrissy,
Yeah,
that's
we need to
the
find
basic
that
thing,
out.
but for some reason, and again, you're talking
I
about
mean, he's
something
been
that's
gone, what, how
8
long?
years.
8 years.
I'm guessing.
Okay,
Cause I think he left under the last administration,
Yeah.
but I think I was here, I think we were here at that time, or else I was going in. I
think it
thought,
was
He left, I think he left right before I came in, and
I think it was
came in
15.
18.
I came in 18, we came in together.
Yeah.
So I think it was
15, I think it was.
when I was down here, but maybe not in yet,
Yeah, I don't think he was not here when I was.
so he's been gone 10 years,
8 years.
or eight
Yeah.
years.
Whatever.
After 8 years, you want that money back.
So, I don't know, I think we should just table this until we get some.
Okay.
Some more
if it-
info.
If, if he wasn't paid that, but I don't know
thought
of
he-
any place that carries over vacation
You're
time.
right.
I'm not saying they do or anything, but
No,
I think I
and-
remember him
But
leaving
even,
that when he
yeah,
left.
but I don't even think any place lets you leave it, I think they pay you a portion, a percentage of it,
Like a severance.
yeah.
Yeah, when you're done, you're done.
Right.
Right.
They give you this
They
amount
give
and you
you,
get out.
say, if you didn't use it, we'll pay you 80% of what you have.
Isn't that
Right.
a union contract?
Is it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, we
I
don't,
think there's a severance clause in the union
Yeah.
contract, but I don't know
So
how it,
what
if
we
this
need to do is
carried
find out
over
what he was paid.
Yeah.
from Austin.
If
Town.
he was paid that.
100%, just find out from
I have
Chrissy
no
before we
complaints
even.
about,
or if the union represented him anyhow on that, if he got anything
I
from them or
mean,
whatever.
even coming back at full rate, that's kinda not fair to a new hire, but, I mean, he's been gone 8
Experience.
years. But experience, yeah, okay, that's fine.
That's
I have
fine.
no problem with that, or
Right.
the sick time, because that's.
We have that as a lateral transfer, we have that in the language in the contract too.
But I think the lateral transfer, if I remember right, is in Struthers' position,
Right.
correct?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I don't think it's
Not
other,
from one
No,
community
not
to
from
the
one
other.
community to
Oh,
another.
it is?
It's a
I'm
lateral
not
transfer.
saying, that's what you're trying to say, right?
Correct, that's
Right.
that's the way that I understood it back
That's
then.
What did
So
you do
maybe-
for Lamping? Cause he was saying, right?
That's a whole different situation, cause he
How's
was
that
terminated,
different?
because he was terminated here.
I mean, when you quit or you get terminated, you're done.
Yeah, I mean,
You're done.
Well, according to the contract, we have, it's, when they're working at a different agency,
Yeah, I
and they
think maybe you
transfer
guys
over.
need to look at that contract a little better when you
I would
start
say just get
negotiating
it,
again.
look at it from Chrissy, find out what was done and go from there.
What he
Correct.
was paid when he departed Struthers.
But I would also say this, as long as I've been here, and I'm not disagreeing with you in any way, Bob.
I just don't
And
wanna set
I
a
understand.
precedent.
As long as
know.
I've been here, though, we've really had a hard time, police officers specifically.
Oh, yeah.
That is our hardest person to find quality people that stay here.
And it's
So
nothing
somebody,
against him
I
at
know,
all.
I understand,
No,
but
he's a
somebody
great
wanting
guy.
to come back and
But,
spend the
you
rest
know,
of their career
everybody's
here.
hearing what's going on.
I'm just
Yeah.
looking at it
That's
from
the
a
problem.
business standpoint, and from a business standpoint, you're having that much trouble getting new hires, and you're getting quality people, to bring a guy back like that you know is a top-notch police officer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
That you
agree.
don't have to train, you don't have to worry about the top rate. I don't see any issue with in a police officer instance. All right, if this was, and again, I'm not saying anything bad about anybody. If it was a janitor's position, it's different. This is something we entrust people
Right.
who is now a liability to the city. We're entrusting to potentially shoot someone, save your life, do any of those things, to know what we got back. And I don't have any favoritism towards this officer versus another one, I do not. But knowing what we got back, I think we got the deal.
well, you know,
I'm just saying that, what I know,
I
you know
got
what
you.
I mean?
but
And
in that same line of thinking, I mean, it's like, well, we could certainly try to incentivize good quality police officers to come here by saying we're gonna give them $10,000-$20,000 signing
that
bonus.
doesn't make sure that you get a quality police officer. We
Well,
know
you
we
have to
got
do
one
your-
because
have
we
a lot
know
of
him
good
and we
quality
know that he
police
came
officers,
back.
though.
If we start doing that, you could still get terrible, police officers that
Sure,
are
but you could-
strictly coming here for that money,
You
right?
could, you could vet them.
Yeah,
So
you
that,
could vet
that's
them.
all I'm
You
saying,
could certainly
but you're
vet
not gonna
them.
be able to vet brand new people out of the academy.
Not brand new people, I'm
Because
not
you're-
talking about brand new people, I'm talking about someone with the experience that
No,
this officer has.
I understand the mechanics of all of this, and
Right.
I don't think we're at odds on this. I think we need to look at Chrissy,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
talk to
that's all.
Chrissy,
Yeah.
but I'm just also saying that,
Oh, I thought
in
we
a-
were just talking about him, getting,
In a-
instead of treating him as a new hire.
I
that we're
would just say
treating
in
him
a police
that's-
officer
To be honest,
instance,
that's civil service, I don't think it's in our contract, it's a civil service thing, because I remember going over this with JP.
in a police officer
Yeah.
instance, I feel like more is demanded of them, and they have far more liability to the city. John, would you kind of agree with
Oh,
that?
I would agree with that, yeah.
You
I
know what I
think
mean?
that-
So in
Oh,
this
yeah.
instance, we may have paid full rate, but we also probably took away some liability that we know this person doesn't carry, at least in the past, he has not.
Right.
Top-notch officer, there's no
Right.
way around it, you know what
And
I
I
mean?
Oh,
think
yeah.
the union's also
Right.
looking at, this is somebody who had a tragic situation happen, and he didn't abuse any time that he was allotted, he wanted to come back.
We're grateful we pay him and
And
everything.
I think that's where the union's coming in as.
I
saying,
just
like,
know
we
what it's like
agree
to
that-
hire people for certain positions. Certain positions are much harder to come by a quality, employee.
Right.
Other ones
But we're
aren't
way
so
off track
much.
of what we're talking about here, though.
Yeah,
Agreed,
I just think
I
it's
agree.
important.
Talk to Chrissy and
Let's
go
get
from there.
that
That
situation
would
done and
be,
everything.
yeah, that
We're
would
glad to
be-
have you back, Jason, if you're,
Yeah, absolutely,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
absolutely, I mean, he was a great guy.
all right.
Next,
Alright. Okay, so we have all these permanent full-time raises. I think, what are there, 13 of them? You missed this.
I know. I said it all week. I'm like, man, you know what? I'm not the chairman of finance and legislation. Bob got a lot of reading
Alright,
to do.
number one, ordinance establishing the position and salaries of all elected officials retroactive to January 1st, 2026, and said employees repealing ordinance number 25-.30 and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Number two, an ordinance establishing the position and salary of employment provisions of department heads and non-classified service appointment by the mayor, retroactive to January 1st, 2026, for the said employee, including superintendent wastewater plant, repealing ordinance number 25-031 and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Number 3, an ordinance establishing the position, salary, and employment provisions of superintendent wastewater plant, department head, non-classified service appointed by the mayor, retroactive January 1st, 2026, repealing ordinance number 25-032 and any ordinance inconsistent herewith declaring an emergency. Number 4, an ordinance establishing the position, salary, and employment provisions of street department, a civil service position appointed by the mayor, retroactive to January 1st, 2026, for the said employee, excluding the working foreman, repealing ordinance number 25-033 and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring emergency. That's right.
Oh.
Number 5, an ordinance establishing the position, salary, and employment provisions of mayor's executive assistant, a non-classified service appointed by the mayor, retroactive to January 1st, 2026, and said employee, repealing ordinance number 25-034 and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring emergency. Number 6, an ordinance establishing the position, salary, and employment provisions of deputy auditor, a non-classified service appointed by the auditor, retroactive to January 1st, 2026, for said employee, repealing ordinance number 26-035 and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Number 7, an ordinance establishing the position, salary, and employment of clerk of council, a non-classified service appointed by the Struthers City Council, retroactive to January 1st, 2026, for said employee, repealing ordinance number 25-079 and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Number 8, an ordinance establishing the position, salary, and employment provisions of secretary to the law director, a non-classified service appointed by the law director, retroactive to January 1st, 2026, for the said employee, repealing ordinance number 25-037 and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Number 9, an ordinance establishing the position, salary, and employment provisions of police chief secretary, a non-classified service appointed by the mayor, retroactive to January 1st, 2026, for the said employee, repealing ordinance number 25-038 and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Number 10, an ordinance establishing the position, salary, and employment provisions of code enforcement officer, a non-classified service appointed by the mayor, retroactive to January 1st, 2026, for the said employee, repealing ordinance number 25-039 and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Number 11, an ordinance establishing the position, salary, and employment provisions of full-time park caretaker, laborer, a non-classified service appointed by the mayor, retroactive to January 1st, 2026, for said employee, repealing ordinance number 25-040 and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Number 12, an ordinance establishing the position, salary, and employment provisions of building maintenance person, a non-classified service appointed by the mayor, retroactive to January 1st, 2026, for said employee, repealing ordinance number 25-055 and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. And number 13, an ordinance establishing the position, salary, and employment provisions of assistant superintendent wastewater plant department head, a non-classified service appointed by the mayor, retroactive to January 1st, 2026, repealing ordinance number 25-060 and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring emergency. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, back to, no. I'm just kidding.
I missed what you said after 3.
Motion to bring it up.
Motion to bring it up? Second?
Say 7:25 next week.
We got another one over there?
Oh, yeah, there's plenty.
Okay.
There's lots of reading it there.
There's more?
Want some water?
I would feel bad for you, Bob, but I did this too many times to feel bad.
I think you have my pen.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
That's okay, cause I have his.
It went down
It
with
made
that.
its way down there.
Okay, the next, what do we
I
have?
don't have to read those.
Oh, no doubt.
Next 8 ordinances are for the permanent part-time raises. Number 1, an ordinance creating the position of non-classified seasonal part-time street laborers, setting hours and wages for said position, repealing ordinance number 25-048, and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Number 2, an ordinance creating the position of a non-classified part-time park laborers and non-classified part-time seasonal laborers, setting hours and wages for said positions, repealing ordinance number 25-47, and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Number 3, an ordinance granting and establishing an hourly rate for part-time paid firemen and setting the amount to be paid to part-time paid firemen for the attendance at training meetings, and repealing ordinance number 25-046, and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Number 4, an ordinance creating the position of part-time civilian clerk dispatchers in the police department, repealing ordinance number 25-042, and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. And number 5, an ordinance creating a position of part-time coordinator and litter recycling and part-time driver lit. Or should I just do that one?
Yeah, do this one, cause I think what happened was it doubled it.
What
So,
had
okay.
happened was,
Which one was that?
Number
'Cause-
5,
Number 5.
they're not the same?
No, this shouldn't be in there. Sorry. It is, sorry. I didn't mean to put that in there.
just
Meant
wanted you
take
to
it out.
read a little
Yeah,
extra, Bob.
So just take that one out and there'll only be 7.
Only 7,
Yes,
okay.
sorry about that.
Alright, so number 5,
Yeah, I'm like, wait, I was listening to
6, and 7, so we only have 7 pieces for this. Okay, number 5, an ordinance creating a position of a non-classified part-time driver for the elderly van, setting hours and wages for said positions, repealing ordinance number 25-045, and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Number 6, an ordinance creating the position of non-classified part-time police officers, setting hours and wages for said positions, repealing ordinance number 25-43, and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. And number 7, an ordinance creating a position of a non-classified part-time deputy tax commissioner clerk, setting the hours and wages for said position, repealing ordinance number 25-044, and any ordinance inconsistent herewith and declaring an emergency. Motion to bring it out.
Motion to bring it out.
Second?
Second.
We let the dogs out, right?
I know, I'm like,
Right on cue.
just right on cue. I was like, oh.
Go there afterwards.
See if you can figure out how you could write off this turf.
Yeah, he's figuring out a lot of stuff.
Don't forget about that last one.
The last one. Okay, and we have one more here. An ordinance creating number 125.01 of the codified ordinances of the city of Struthers, establishing a policy for the deposit public funds and declaring an emergency.
Motion to bring it out.
Second.
Second.
Anybody have any questions or comments for this committee? For these ordinances that we just brought out?
I do not.
Not the ordinances, but a couple of things.
Okay.
As always.
Mayor?
You guys all received an email from Ian Beniston from YNDC. We're doing a ribbon cutting for they already started the 8 houses, as you guys can see. They're moving very quickly, but we're doing a ribbon cutting on Tuesday, April 21st at 10:30 at the house that's being built at 363 Sexton, for any of you that can make it. He invited,
When is this?
Tuesday, April 21st at 10:30. He emailed everybody too.
Has the first house been occupied at all yet? Has
The
any-
for sale sign is out of the yard,
I think
so
It's
I
out of the
think
yard?
it's
It's
sold.
pending.
Yeah.
It's
Last
been-
time I checked, it was pending.
So there's 3 on Wilson going, or on Sexton going up then.
3
There's
on Sexton.
There's
Yeah,
4 in Nebo area.
1, 2, 3. Where's the 4? There's one on Haywood. There's one on
John
John and
Center.
Prospect and Center.
Center. Those are the only 3 I see too.
And then there's 3 on
Is there
Sexton.
one on
Narcissa,
Narcissa?
too.
Oh, Narcissa,
Yeah.
yes, I'm sorry.
So there's 4 there, and then,
Those 3,
Mike's
and then
doing
there's
his.
One on East Street.
So what is the turnaround time of getting these occupied? I mean, how long does it take? Cause the first one's been done for a while.
I think
Took
it's
a
just
while for
finding.
sale,
Yeah,
you know, to be
Just
honest,
finding a buyer.
you're
Yeah.
in a bad market right now.
I will tell you
It,
though,
it turned
I
on
think some of
you,
these locations are gonna
6
sell
months ago.
fast.
I've had 5 or 6 different people call YNDC to start the process to getting approved for these
The
houses.
requirements are what? They have to be like $40-some thousand?
It depends on their family.
How many
dynamic.
people?
So how many people, how many kids they have, if they're married, if
I
they're single.
thought I
It
seen if
escalates.
it was
That's
like
it.
a
There's a
5-family house, or 5-family household, I thought it was in the 70s.
70,000.
Yeah.
70,000.
It escalates per head in each
So they
house.
have to be able to actually get a loan for $180,000.
If that's, like, they dropped this one to 160. We obviously want the max and they're gonna start at 180. But if they're not being sold, they have the opportunity, but that just drops what we make in the end.
You said 10:30, Cat, in the morning?
10:30. Yep,
What-
it's in he's emailed everybody.
No, it would help
What are
us,
we making off of these houses then?
all of it,
Whatever's, all of it.
whatever it
Yeah,
sells for.
So whatever it sells for, we make, and we can put that
It
back
goes into our
in.
general
it-
fund.
Well, Chrissy has it separate, because we have to basically say how
Use
we're
as a
gonna
line
use
item.
it to,
So is there guidelines for that money to be used on certain things?
no, but we're restricting it to certain things.
Well, don't you
So
remember
we're-
though, can I talk? When we initially discussed this, I wanted when we sold these, for us to recycle this money
Yep.
and build
Build-
more.
Yeah.
So if we're at a loss when we're building them and selling them. However, if we sold 8 and we could build 6 additional with the proceeds from this, that's great.
And we talked about even adding money to.
Can you build that many? From the sale of $300,000 to build, right?
280, 275,
Alright,
right?
310.
310. And we're selling for 180?
Does anybody see the downside to this? If I have a house that I'm trying to sell for $180,000, it isn't gonna compare to something brand new
Right.
that was
True.
$280,000. So in a sense, I look at this as, people that are trying to sell their house in Struthers, kind of puts them at a disadvantage. I mean, people that don't have that
Almost
aren't
makes them have
having
to
a
lower
brand new
their
house.
price.
Right.
Yes, but it
So-
also makes property values go up too, because the value of the home isn't gonna change.
If I'm living next door to a brand new house that's going up, and size-wise is the same, and they're selling that house for $160,000, and it's a brand
Yeah,
new house.
but they have to also get approved for that, and they have to be below a certain income level, which
That's
the
what I
other
was
one
gonna
does
ask.
not.
That's
So
true,
I may
but
wanna buy that house, but I'm not able to because I make too much income. So it is, that market
that same
is,
person could buy the house
that-
next door as well if they qualify for the one.
that
They
market,
would
I
qualify
think
for the other.
you have 2 different markets here. Even though they're both in Struthers, because only a small percentage of people are going to qualify to purchase that home.
Yeah, I think we need.
That's
what
true,
are
but
the
they would also
qualifications?
qualify, if they could
went
qualify to
over it
borrow
last time they were
180 on
here.
that house, they
When they
would
were here,
qualify to
they
borrow
were-
180 on
I
another
kinda
house.
forgot what they
Yeah,
were.
I
It
wrote it
would
down,
not
I think.
technically,
I could get it.
Well,
what
why
you're,
not?
what
Yeah.
you're saying is correct, however, if
I
somebody
could
makes
print
far
out for you.
more than that,
They
they
have a
can't
bigger
purchase
market
that,
to
they
choose
can't
from.
purchase that
The
house.
one person, right, but I'm talking about, it's like, if it's $180,000 and I qualify for that, meet the criteria for that, I would also meet the criteria to buy the house next door, but I'm not gonna buy the house next door because this house is brand new.
Right.
You know, so
Different-
I'm just saying that I see that as a, I think this is, all in all, I think this is a wonderful thing. But I also do see that there is a downside to this in terms of people that are trying to sell their house.
I'm not nearly as concerned with that as
Oh, I'm
as I
just saying.
am with the people who, we're now got tax dollars coming in from income tax, which
That's
we
good for
get.
Struthers, but
Yeah,
if
and this is
if
only
you
a
have the house
temporary
that's next
thing.
door and you're trying to sell your house and people choose to buy the house next door because
Yeah, but
it's a brand new house, then
I
for
get that,
you,
but I'm not
that's
gonna,
not such a great deal.
I'm not gonna concern myself with the small amount of percentage of people that live next door to this, that are trying to sell their house. I see it as a far more benefit for the city of building a brand new house, improving property value, and also now getting income tax dollars, which makes up 80% of our budget.
Yeah, and
Couldn't
this is
it,
just a
I agree with you
temporary
100%.
thing.
It's better for the
It's
city,
a once
It
in a
is.
lifetime thing.
but not for the guy that's trying to sell his house next door.
This is a
That's the only
businessman
point I'm
versus a
trying to make.
resident
I
talking
could
right
tell you
now,
this.
and I'm like,
I'm sorry for that guy, but I'm not willing,
And in the places we're
I'm not
putting
willing
these
to
things,
downgrade the
houses,
It might
city.
help too, though.
it's
I'm-
gonna help the area.
I'm not
we're
willing to
putting it.
downgrade the impact, the
might
positive
improve
impact
next
on the
to
city
where
by
they
doing
go.
this, because
Yeah.
I'm worried about the neighbor who potentially could be selling his house, and it
What was your question?
potentially could impact.
Right, I'm just saying that's the flip side of the coin.
I
And
agree.
it
Yeah,
exists.
you just be a devil's advocate.
I'm
I
being
understand.
devil's advocate.
But I
I think
would
it's
say-
a wonderful program, I'm glad we have it. I'm
Jimmy,
just
I
saying.
would say that that's a five-sided coin, and that's one side of it.
Yeah.
I would say that the benefit far outweighs the negative.
Yeah, well, we don't have to cover the other three sides.
So let's say,
Right.
you have this extra money, all right, and you're putting it in your little area that you wanna do these with more houses. Would we do the same stipulations with those houses that we
We
would
haven't
build?
crossed that bridge yet.
But we don't have control over that. This
But-
is through the Welcome Home Ohio project.
So
So
you
this
would-
is all
So
regulated by the
the-
state.
I
We
guess
have
the
no
thing
control.
is,
so
if-
no, she means the money that
The
when
money
they
we
sell.
Oh, the money
Yeah.
But you're saying that like with that money we make, that we could do this with more houses.
Would you
Are
have,
you still
yeah.
doing the same thing?
Do
You're
we
gonna
do
build
the
a
same-
house for
I don't see why we
300?
would.
But
But
do
keep
we-
in mind, keep
I
in
don't see
mind-
why we would at all.
It worked
Keep in
once,
mind that
let
we're
it work
still,
again.
we have the contract with
Won't fix what ain't
YNDC,
broke.
so we're paying them to manage this project, to build the
Mhm.
homes, we're
Yeah.
paying for their services to sell the homes, they're managing.
I
and
get that
administer-
But when
100%,
we,
but I'm talking
but when
about
we
like-
take
I know what
over
you-
the project,
I
do
know
we
what
you
still
mean.
let them do the management?
Right.
Because
They manage
there's
it
no
for
way
20
we would,
years.
we would, you know,
It
we
wouldn't
would,
be
if
sustainable.
it was us doing it, we would probably cut corners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what we can do
We'd
is
probably
use
save
this
money,
money
though,
to
too.
apply for
But the house,
another
with the
round
house,
of this.
you know.
But we're not paying them, YNDC isn't making the house nicer, they're managing the project.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah, but the house cost $300,000 to build.
We
We're
could
selling it
probably
for
build the same,
160.
but we could probably build the same house for $250 or $240.
And what would you
And,
sell it for?
hang on, and we don't have to fall under the $70,000 guidelines anymore. We don't then have to sell it to somebody who meets that criteria, we can sell it
Yeah,
to anyone.
That's true.
So why would we sell it for 180 when anybody would qualify for it who makes enough money?
Right.
This is just, we're putting up roadblocks that we're not at yet.
Yeah, but
The-
we
you know what I
but
mean?
there's
Yeah.
a
We're
lot
not
of different-
spending this money, let's focus on getting the homes
Getting
built,
them
selling
done.
the homes,
But we are
Oh,
spending
yeah.
putting the money away, and then we can go from there.
Well, and this whole
But we-
did take a long time to sell.
It did,
But we
It
already-
really did.
because
you're not in the
they
best
didn't-
market.
They didn't have the people. I've already sent 6 people to try to get pre-qualified before the houses are even built that wanna stay in Struthers.
Yeah.
But we all are already spending the money because we're paying YNDC to administer this entire program. So there is
So-
a chunk that we are not going to be getting because we're paying them to do all the work.
But we didn't have a choice on these,
No.
correct?
No, we did not. But also keep in mind, we talked to Phil Purrier about maybe adding more money to the CHIP program to help
Sure.
the houses that we already have in Struthers. So going back into
So what are we paying them
homes.
considered the house? One
I have,
house,
I
what
have
are we
to
paying
look at
them?
the contract.
So it costs 300 to build, we're selling for 180, how much do they get of that 180?
I have to look.
See, I'll be
There's-
honest, I'm wrong, because I was under the impression that, first, I thought initially we had talked about 275 to 285 to build. I thought their fees were into that 275, 285.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it was being inflated, so I'll just tell you right now, I was wrong, because that was my assumption the whole entire time, was that we were at 285 all in.
So if they
275
make,
all
if they
in.
make 10 to 20 grand profit off the house, that lowers what we get.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna maybe build
$140.
Right.
2-3 houses
I
from
just think-
the profit.
If that's even the way we wanna go with it.
Correct.
There's a
But I
million
think-
different things, but originally talked about this, it was putting it back into increasing the population, increasing the homes, helping with the homes, kinda like the CHIP
Sure,
program,
yeah,
things
yeah,
like that, is
yeah.
increasing, that way it stays in the same category, that we're not just,
Yeah, I seen this
Throwing
as
it
such a
out there.
positive because we are losing residents, there's no question about it. In the time that I've been here, from the prior mayor till now, I think we've tore down 300 homes in the city.
But they were
Check
empty
that.
for a long time.
I understand, but if we built a new one there, it probably wouldn't
If
be.
the census is still, what,
That's
10
just-
10,000
little over
people?
10,000.
Yeah, it's been
I
that
think it's a
for,
little bit north
Yeah.
of 10,000.
it's been that
actually.
for a long time. So the
Well-
houses we tore down were pretty much abandoned anyway.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure, but
dilapidated.
repopulate.
But,
I mean,
no, right,
repopulate
yeah, oh,
the
yeah,
land.
I agree, yeah.
Whatever we lost from them, from those houses, I mean, we still need to put people back in there to
Right.
keep
So
our.
I don't think we're losing
income tax
population,
up.
we're just not gaining any more.
Yeah,
that's what we wanna do by
Yeah.
putting these new homes on these vacant properties, that's the only way, we don't have land where we can build developments, the only way we're gonna
We're landlocked.
increase
We-
is
we
lot-
always-
We
is lot
gotta get
building.
something for down there.
I mean, but we always have been landlocked. There's nowhere. I mean,
Well,
people left Struthers because there weren't the homes that they desired. People's families grew. It's a hard thing to find. People want a newer home. They want to be able to build it. Poland has all the space in the world. We don't have that option. So we now have to become a little bit more inventive.
Okay,
I have one more thing,
all right.
this will be a quick one,
No,
I
that's
promise.
fine, yeah.
Keep it
so
going.
That's what this is all about.
But I wanted to remind you guys about next Friday, the 24th, my office, 8 o'clock. We should be wrapping up around 9:30 with the students. I think we're gonna have between 11 and 12 kids. I have a panel of people. I actually had somebody request to be on the panel. Mayor Zupo from Girard is gonna be there, Zach Teeter from MS. Ryan Rogalski, our tax commissioner, wanted to speak to the kids. Because there's a lot of things he feels like he could try to help them out with in a brief, because their financial literacy is sometimes not there at all. We have someone from the building trades coming, and then possibly Tex Fisher. So we will all be stuck
That's the
in my
24th?
room. That's the 24th.
Next Friday.
What
I'll
time
have
do you want us
donuts
here?
and coffee, 8 o'clock.
I might do it. Friday, what time?
8 o'clock.
Friday,
You're not
8
gonna be able
o'clock.
to go to Rogers.
Are you gonna have it in the?
In my room.
Oh, in your room.
Yep, we're gonna stuff all in there, we put we rearrange everything in there, and then we're gonna have them tour City Hall, we're gonna sit in with Judge Malone's court. We have a couple other things I gotta work out time-wise, we go to Donavita's for lunch, Stela's, and then if you guys wanna meet back up with us, at 1:30, we're gonna meet with Bart, can't remember Bart's last name?
Bart Wilson.
Bart Wilson,
Simpson.
from Integra at the kayak launch. So he's gonna show the kids what's going on at the kayak launch. So if you guys are free again at 1:30 to meet us down there, he's gonna give them an overview.
Okay,
I have a kayak, I'm just so nervous that I throw it out there. I don't know
anything else
why.
for this committee? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Committee adjourned.